Today we're going to talk about add-ons or resource and behavior packs, which are nested inside, and we're going to look at the structure and when you create a new world, or if you're loading an old one, if you come over here on the side, you'll see add-ons. And this is where your packs are going to, this is like where you're going to access them from the game. But before you can even access them, we got to create them. And that kind of starts, well, hopefully in the future you can start by using these packs that I'll give you this add-on. But basically, depending on what you want to do, you'll either have a resource or a behavior pack, but most of the time you're going to have both. And inside of the game, they're split up into two packs inside these folders. These folders are in the, if you're not familiar with the structure here, which most of you probably are, but this is like these right here. This is like your worlds, right? These are all your save files. Just back into that top folder, you'll see we have resource packs and behavior packs, and that's where you'll find your add-ons. And then there's another kind of pack too. There's skin packs as well, and templates, but those are mostly when we think about add-ons, we're thinking of those three: the resource, the behavior, and the skin pack as well. You can tell because these three also have the development versions. Basically, what the development version does is if you are working on one, you have to reload a lot of stuff often, and you're constantly like opening and closing a world when you're testing it. If you have a pack, so imagine I'm working on a pack and I apply it to my world and I make a change. Well, it's now splintered, it's branched off from my pack. But if you do it through a development behavior pack, it's, you can make a change to that and then reload it, and if it's in that folder it will update. Otherwise you have to, if I had made it just a change to this, I would have to just reapply this pack to a new world or to my old world, remove it. It's just, if you're developing a pack, it's kind of nice to do it here. Or something that I do all the time, it's even shorter, is I just access it through the world, because it makes, like I said, it creates a branch of it, and once you have it, then it's in the world, and so then I start working on it directly from here, and then you open and close that over and over again. So, but today we're going to look at creating one for the first time, and we'll start with the resource pack. So this is the pack. When I give you the add-on, it will have it'll have at least this resource pack and the behavior pack. Maybe we'll do a skin pack tied into it. But these are the files. Now a lot of these folders are empty, but I wanted to show like the hierarchy and a lot of the just kind of stuff. You don't need to have a folder if you don't need it, but if you don't have it, then you might not know about it, right? So I wanted to include a lot of things in here and a lot of examples too. So, because some of these are really important, and some of these, you may never actually use depending on what you're trying to build. Gonna open in a new window, this one, and open the behavior pack. So we have both of these open now at the same time. There we go. Hopefully that's not too small for everyone to read. But this is kind of, again, not everything that you can put in a resource or a behavior pack, but a lot of the basic stuff. And then as we're going through it, I guess if you have any questions on anything specific, feel free to raise your hand, ask, and yeah, we'll try to explain it all. But let's look at the resource pack. The first thing, the most important thing you're going to need when you do a pack is basically kind of this manifest file, right? This is what's going to set up your pack. So if you can use any kind of text editor, but I recommend you using something that handles it better, like VS Code. When I first started editing these kind of JSON files, I was using Notepad, so I mean you definitely can do it, but I use this VS Code now because I have extensions that work for Minecraft that give me color coding, and it helps set it up for what I'm doing. So this is what the manifest looks like. This is kind of the most important part of your add-on here, your resource pack, and you're going to need this for your resource pack, and you're going to need this for you're going to need one also here for your behavior pack. There's resources online. I can send some links that show you, kind of what all these things are, but we'll just kind of talk to them. The format version, I don't change it. You can go back to format 1, but I wouldn't recommend it. Just stay current. The header is going to be your information, your name, and the name is important, but this UUID number is the most important part here. This number needs to be unique to your pack for sharing purposes, because if that number ever conflicts with any other piece of content ever made, you're going to have issues, right? And so you don't know what other people have, and if you have multiple packs, at some point those could collide. So this number, if you're not familiar with the UUIDs, we can go. That's not it. Here we go. I use this website, uuidgenerator.net, and on it, it just has this little generator. You can type in how many codes you want, and then it will generate them. And see what happens here. See, it gave us all these things here. So you just copy this, copy one of these bad boys, and then you're going to go back to here, and you're going to paste it into here. So there's a couple areas that you're going to want to paste them into. You're gonna this is the top line is the UUID for the actual, for this file, for the RP. This resource module is another unique one, and then this thing is a dependency. I'd recommend, if you have packs that work together, to set these dependencies up. You don't have to, but it makes everybody's life better, including yours when you're when you're doing it. But if you notice here, this number, it's what do we got, 4B7E. If you look over here, this is now the behavior pack. That's this number. So I'm taking the number again. This is another unique number, just for the behavior. But when I create the dependency, I'm going to put this number, and I'm going to paste it into here as a dependency. So what happens is when I load my add-on, that's going to make sure that the behavior and the resource packs stay together, and they both open at the same time. And you'll see what I mean in a minute. If you're unfamiliar, if you already know where I'm going, you already get it. So the version, typically, just keep up to date. If you're using this, like this is probably fine and dandy. So these are really just the only things that you have to worry about, is creating your 4 unique UUIDs, and then setting up your dependencies. This one, I believe, should be the same as this right here. So you can see that these are the same. So whether or not I open the behavior pack, or whether or not I open the resource pack and apply it in Minecraft first, it will pull the other one in with it. Just cool, just easier. Excuse me. The metadata, this is just this kind of just tells you like where this came from. You can see it's not an important thing. If you make your own, you don't need to include it. This is just, this in Blockbench, this pack was based off of something that was made with Blockbench. I probably made some sort of entity or something, and then it made this pack, and then I just reuse it. And you can totally get rid of all this. It doesn't matter. This is just showing again where it came from. It's kind of good, I guess, for tracking down some of the, like if you're using any of their wizards or anything. But a lot of times they'll just have, attribution. So it's just like, this was made by Cole or whatever. So you can take it or leave it. So this file is both these files are very important for the structure here. And let's look at our RP now. That's the most important file. Now, depending on what you're going to do, what you're trying to make, you might have any number of these files. So if you were just going to like retexture some blocks, you're going to have textures, right? If you're going to retexture blocks, you're probably going to have these blocks here. The blocks.json. I don't have to go into each one of these right now. If anybody wants to see them, we can and go in deep. But basically, this is going to have like a bunch of your blocks that you're adding in. The sounds is the same way. I think the sounds file generates automatically. I think it always wants it, and if you're not doing anything with sound, it'll just be blank. The biomes I think is something for if you're doing things where you're changing some of the biome stuff. This file could generate, again, like if you don't need these files, then you don't need to have them. But if you are changing these, you'll want to have these files. So yeah, this one's about the biomes. Yeah, so let me pull up this path. Like I'll show you. So now we're just going to create a new world here. I'll call it corner, and we'll make it creative, and I'm just going to make it flat. I don't know. I guess I could change some of the stuff inside, but we'll do always day. We'll turn mob spawning. Yeah, we'll keep it on. I'll change it if I need to. And we'll turn off weather cycle. So then what we're going to do is put in our pack. So we would come down here to resource packs. We'd look in our collection, and if we set up that file correctly, right, we're going to have our pack listed in here. So this is my generic resource pack. I kind of start with this one a lot and modify it as I go for whatever I'm kind of doing. But I'm going to activate it. It's going to give me that little warning, and you can see up at the top says it's being activated, and bam, you'll notice it says pack active too, because we got our global resources, and now we have the cold generic. And if you look down here on behavior packs, you'll see it's already added, and that's because of the dependency thing that we talked about just a minute ago. So if I didn't do that dependency in that manifest file, then I would have to go in and manually add it from this list, right? It would be in here, and I'd have to manually add it. But this way, I don't have to. Once they're connected, they're like twins. They're always going to hang out together. So there you go. So now we're going to launch this world, and you can watch my computer struggle. I'm running out of hard disk space, so my computer's running a little slower than normal. Hopefully, it won't take too long to create a super flat
No, you're
world.
good. While it's loading, I said Mike in the chat had shared that um uh VS Code there's actually extensions to be able to add the UID generator in it.
Oh, interesting. Is that yeah? I haven't found one, but yeah, I mean, I haven't looked at the extensions in a while, but yeah, that would be perfect. Yeah, I have a couple extensions that were I'm trying to remember where they even are in here.
Or bottom of that list, little grid.
This guy. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, so you can see some of the ones I have, like the snowstorm for doing the particle effects. Uh, it kind of ties in so you can get a visual, and it's a snowstorm lets you make particle effects, and it has a visualization so you can see them happening. It's pretty cool. And then I have some of these other ones that there was I don't know. I had a couple other ones. Like I have a bunch of I don't know if they're I guess they're like plugins, or I don't know what they're called, but I have some of the things set up so that I could have the color coding and stuff for, because it could just be like all the same color, but I have ones that understand Minecraft formatting, and you can get those here too. I don't know if they're extensions or if they're something else, but
And so that was one of the comments was having that the Minecraft color highlighter for the extension, or to be able to color code it.
Yeah, it's really hard now. Oh, is this it right here? Yeah, there it is. It's syntax MC function or something like that, right? And so that's the thing that gives me like here. Oh no, that's not even there anymore. Or was I'll just open it through here, but that yeah, that gives me these different colors, and it just kind of understands what we're doing in Minecraft,
Mhm.
and so it colors things appropriately. It's helpful. I mean, if this was all same color, you could probably still figure it out. Someone that doesn't, that misses brackets all the time, this is really helpful. um, it and it kind of knows. Well, I guess
Yeah,
all of them.
visually appealing and helpful.
Yeah, exactly. It helps me. Um, so let's go back. So our game loaded here. So this is our world with our add-ons on it. So I built a couple things in here just to get everybody started. And hopefully if you load this pack, I've covered some of the things that people want to do the most, right? If there's something that isn't in here, and if it doesn't take too long, we might be able to just make it right now and add it to this pack. But let's see what we got. So one of the things I know everybody likes to do is make NPCs. And most of the time, I'm sure everybody knows you can just you can reskin an NPC, right? We all kind of know where the file is. Maybe I'm guessing it's like there's a texture file. If we go back to our in our folder here, textures, and you go into entities, there's the NPCs, right? And they have all the NPC files. Most of the time, people, if they want to make a custom NPC, they'll color over it, right? Well, I've included the file on how to actually add more to it. So if we come here and we look at this, um, you're going to see we have all of our NPCs, but rather than retexturing one and losing it, I created it so you can append. So I made a little coal here, but he's appended to the list. So he's actually in here without the sacrificing any of the other ones. So now we got little coal, and we could preview it. And you'll notice that we're using the UI, the NPC UI plus that Pathway Studios has created for a lot of the games that we use with them. A lot of people like this. A lot of people talk about how much they really like this UI for um, as compared to the original, and we use this in our code and a couple others. So I've included this UI in here as well, so you can see how this works. And that lives in this folder right here. So these are all the files that support this new look. So you'll get to peek around and see how that works too. Now another thing people always talk about is making your own entity. Most people have probably played around with that to some degree. Maybe you've like retextured an entity, like maybe you made this chicken into a duck, or pig into a dog, or maybe you went in a little bit above and beyond. You created a new model and you made some new creature and used the behaviors. Um, when you're
And
thinking about it,
is that UI in that pack that you're going to share?
it is, yes.
Okay. Like I said, there are a couple questions of that UI, plus by who,
Yeah,
and then also how to include it, but that it'll be included when the file is shared.
yep.
Cool. Or
I
the folder,
spoke
yeah.
Pathway Studios developed that UI look for us for I believe the first game that we did it on was AI Fairground, Fantastic Fairgrounds. That's what it was called. That's what it shipped as. So Fantastic Fairgrounds, I think, was the first thing that we used, and I know a lot of people have been talking about. I've seen it on on the teachers lounge. I've seen a lot of people say like trying to backward engineer it before and stuff. I met with Gerald, who's the owner of Pathway Studios Rewrite Media, and asked him if he had any problems with me including it for you guys here today, and he said nope, go for it. And so boom, it's in the pack. So yeah, you'll be able to use this now in your thing. It's one folder, and it's the UI folder that we saw in here, and there it is, and it has everything in it. If you want to get crazy and see how it all works, if you make different sized NPC, like so this, like you see it, this one's working with a regular size NPC, but if you make something different as your NPC, it might change this. You might have to shift this around. That's even true in our old version though, right? You have these like portrait offsets and stuff that you have to adjust. Um, that's not going to change here. But if you're just using it with an NPC, like a stock NPC, you'll find that it works pretty good with all of these. It's already kind of set up. and it's a cool feature. There's another
Yeah,
feature
a lot of love in the chat on that. Cool.
nice.
I don't know if you can
Yeah.
if you were checking the chat on the
No,
side, but yeah.
yeah. No. Well, it's hard. It's on my other screen.
Yeah.
So, um, the the thing here is there's another thing that we like to do, which is get rid of the escape. I didn't include it in this, but if anybody wants it, if you don't know how, is I believe that is not so much. Oh, you know, I think it might be in the UI. So there's this little thing where you can. It is in the UI. I didn't include it, but if you want it, you can. It's just dangerous if you're kind of in the beginning stages because you can soft lock yourself and have to restart Minecraft to get out. But essentially, we made it so that we got rid of the X here. See how this X appears and you could close it? Well, when you close out of a window like this, you don't run any commands. So if you're not familiar with how NPCs work, you can add commands that happen when on different events. So you can make buttons, you know, and you could have a button that says hi, and then uh, we could do something like that. We could have a button that when I enter this, it plays a command. For example, if I wanted to do audio, like have a voiceover for my NPC, I could play the sound on enter. So as soon as I enter, the NPC dialogue opens, a sound will play. You could have other effects happen, like I don't know what you would want, but if you wanted it to rain the minute you're talking to an NPC, you could put it in a weather command. There's all kinds of fun stuff. And then on exit is the opposite of that. It just when you close the window, then the commands start. However, if you just back out like that, if you hit escape or if you hit this X, the command won't fire. So for example, like if I hit this, you see the NPC says hi, right? But if I go here and I exit, it didn't say hi. So that can wreck your game, right? If you're relying on those commands to fire. So what we have been able to do is get rid of these X's, but it also the little code in the UI to get rid of the X also disables escape. So what can happen is if you get into a situation where you have no buttons to close the window, then you can't close the window. So you basically open this and then not be able to hit escape to close it and not be able to hit this X. And then if you didn't have any buttons to press, you're just stuck and you have to restart the game and not click on that guy again. Tell you have to go into World Builder, edit him, add a button. So it's a little more dangerous, but it's kind of a nice thing. If you it makes it so that people can't work around what you're trying to do. I'm sure. Well, in the old times, we used to see that a lot. Like in the earlier hour of codes before we had that UI feature, we would see kids, close the X button. It's especially on the other window style because it's just right there in the corner. If you're used to doing Windows and you're used to clicking on these X's, a lot of players would do that, and then they'd break the game, and we'd be like, no, you had to hit the button, and so that's just a reinforcement. I didn't include that X. If you're interested in that X, let me know. I could send you it. It's just another piece of it's just like I think it's like a one-line code entry into this file, I think, and we'll have it. So this is the new UI for NPCs. Oh yeah, so here I'll put me back here. Yay. And then so here's my entity I made for this. It's just kind of a simple humanoid. It is, let's see, summon. I didn't make an egg for it. So I just type it. So there, I made a little me to walk around and explore. So there's NPC me, which you could tell is NPC by his large nose, and this is just wandering Cole. So he's gonna wander the wasteland, doing pretty much nothing. He's gonna get punched though. Okay. Anyway, so that is included here too. So to make an entity, there's a couple files you're gonna need, but you're gonna need a model, right? You're gonna need and so we have our entity model. You know what? Yeah, right here. There's our entity model. And this will show you. So this is the all the skeleton. You could open this file. This file opened because it's JSON here, but you could literally drag this file into Blockbench and it will open. you probably all know by now you could use Blockbench to make an entity pretty easy using the wizard, and it will even set up making your manifest and everything for you, which explains this metadata here. That's a good way to get started because it will just create your own pack for you. But if you do in the future want to start with my pack, just make sure that you're changing out the name, and more importantly, changing out this UUID. Because if you used my UUID, I always change it when I make a new thing, but someone else might not. Now everybody on this call is going to have it, so you might all be conflicting with each other if you don't change these numbers. So remember to change them, and then to make the dependency the UUID of the behavior if you're using it. So not to keep beating that dead horse, but it's a pretty important part of it. Let's see here. So yeah, we were talking about the things you need. So yeah, so you have a model file, and then you have if you're making an entity, you'll have an entity file. And so this is what the entity file looks like. So this entity it's basically a lot of the behaviors of like a zombie, right? It's just it kind of wanders around. I think I took out anything that kind of made it aggressive or kind of like track the player. So it just kind of meanders. But what it did do is give me a shortcut for like using a lot of animations. If you unless you want your zombie to be walking around like your character walking around like Frankenstein or Darth Vader at the end of episode 3, like if you don't want that look, you can actually delete out there's a line, I forget what it's called, but it's like zombie attack or something. And if you get rid of that, then your guy, he won't walk around like this. So you see mine he just walks around like a normal dude. So get rid of that. Otherwise, he's gonna walk around like a zombie, which means arms out. So your entity file has it has a lot, like important links to the things you're going to need. So it has the links to the materials. Most often, if you can make new materials, but you can also just kind of pick within our set, depending on what you're doing. There's several kind of default materials if you want, like transparencies or self illumination, which self illumination is maybe not the right term for it. I guess I use that from like back in the 3D days when I did 3D modeling, but sometimes they call it full bright or I don't know, but basically it just means that it's glowing, but it's not casting light, so it's not really self-illuminating because it's not projecting light, but it's not being affected by light or shadow, so it looks like it's always lit at 100%. So you can change that. Those are different kind of materials. Textures, obviously, that's a pretty easy one. This is the texture file of your entity, and that's another folder in your resource pack was textures, and again, it's going to be in a folder called entity, and then this is our texture. I'm just going to open in my little photo thing here, but it looks blurry because I'm zooming in, but you get the gist of it. You get it. This is the kind of format. If you've ever made an entity in Blockbench, you've seen this off to the side. You paint on it. I usually use Photoshop because I can do different stuff with that. But I'll start in Blockbench, maybe make some notes of where it is, like where things are on here, and then I could take it in, like paint them better in Photoshop. So that's your texture file, and that's what that's referencing there. The geometry here is the model that we just looked at, and then the scripts. The scripts are like what it's going to do. So like animation stuff. This is where you put in all your animation scripts, and I think you put in maybe not. You can add animation. This one has pre-animation, so it's doing this math thing. But this animate script is kind of an important one. Again, you can, if you start with a different mob, you can kind of get a lot of these and decide what you need and which ones you don't. If you make it from scratch, it's a little bit harder, but as you get better, you'll be able to figure out how to do that. I still think it's good to just piggyback off something in the beginning. But if I had to make this from, I still go back and look at my references, even if I don't start with Blockbench, if I'm looking at something old, if there's something I know I need to do, like, well, we built this checkpoint for, like, like an old, like, think like a World War II movie, or like the Swiss border, the little arm lifting thing, the gate that you cross the border. We had done that for a Nobel game where you were supposed to be, like crossing into a different country, and like a little guard shack with the arm. And we had made it so that when you walk up to it, the gate opens, and when you walk away, it closes. So a lot of times, if I know I need a functionality like that, I'll just go and pull that file up and then kind of modify it, so I don't have to think about how to do it, because it can be kind of complicated. With the render controllers, you can use the default for a lot of stuff. If sometimes you need to make a specific one, we can look at that. I've included an animation controller in here. Oh no, I guess I didn't. Yeah, because I'm using the default one. But you could pretty much, unless you're doing something kind of weird, you can. Oh wait, oh no, sorry, I was thinking of this. Here you go. Here's the render controller. That was the animation controller. Animation controller, I'm just using the defaults because I didn't make any unique animations. But if you do, you can make animation controller. This is the render controller. So this render controller, this is the one that is set up for the MPC. It says MPC. So this is actually how you can add your own MPC into the, like, this is part of this. This is why this is included, because rather than just retexture over one of your MPCs, if you want to append to that list, this is how you do it. I mean, this is part of it. There's two parts to it, but one of the things is setting it up in your render controller. So you add it to the array of skins. You'll see these are all the ones that we have in the game normally. Remember, we have all the scientists from chemistry, and then we have the teacher pack. We have the construction workers, agriculture, etc. And all those little robots are here. And then I just added mine here at the end. And
what's the other part, Cole?
I'll show you here. So the other part is, I believe it's in the behavior of the entity. So one of the files that you need when you're making an entity is the actual entity file. So let's look at this MPC. It might be in here. Yes, it is. So the other half is you list. So the entity file itself, like we're looking at the entity for this was for the mob, right? For the little walking goal. This is the NPC's entity. And so on this one, you'll see we listed the textures. On here we have the textures. Boom, it's just the one texture. But on our MPC, we list all those textures that are going to be in our array inside of the render controller. So we have a list of every texture path for all the defaults, and then I appended mine down here. So when you put both those together, that if you have your entity set up and then you have your render controller set up, then it should append to the list there.
That's
and
cool.
Yeah, so you don't have to like lose any NPCs. You can gain NPCs now. And yeah, I mean, you'll see this one pretty much follows the kind of the same thing as the other one. It's got your general animations, and then this render controller, this one is looking for the NPC render controller. This one is looking for just the default, and therefore you don't have to make one. It just uses the standard default. But if I had this on the NPC, it wouldn't find our extra, wouldn't find our extra NPC. This is how you set up a spawn egg. You'll notice, like I said, my character. Oh, I guess he does have one. That's interesting, but it's not showing up in the. It's not showing up. But the spawn egg. This is like setting the colors for the spawn egg, and this is just telling you it has a spawn egg. So the NPC one also has a spawn egg, as you've seen. I'm gonna close some of these windows. So that's the entity. Let me close this guy, and I guess I can close that one too. So those are the files, I think. Okay, and then we show the texture, right? I think that's okay. So the last thing you need, so with all that, you just have a model, but like what you need is the behavior, right? So we had looked earlier at the behavior. When you make an entity, the other thing you're going to want is the behavior, and here's our behavior for our NPC. This is Oh, you know what? Sorry, there is three things that I was like, why did I include it? Because I didn't change it. But this is the third place you asked about adding it. This is the third one. So these variants, these are all the different NPCs that are in the thing. So again, I think it was 59, and I added this last one in here. So you just append to this. So if you were adding two guys, you would add 60 and 61, and you could just keep going. So the default.
You just have to keep it as variant labeled.
Yeah, because that's variant is like a Minecraft thing. There's variants, and then what was the other one called? There's two. I think there's like two different types of variants, but basically the variant just lets you look at a different texture set. And if you'll notice, like some things might have. Well, that's a good example. I guess no, sheep's maybe not a good example. I'm trying to think of something like where the texture actually changes based on something. But
Horses,
like
cats.
cat. Yeah, cat. That's a good example. Yeah, cat. It would be a good example. There's a lot of different textures, so those would be variants. NPCs is a good one, right? So yeah, that's what this is. So you add. So I was wrong. It wasn't two. It's three places you add it. So you add a new variant. You add it in the entity to include the new texture path, and then finally you add it in the render controller to put it in the array. So that's the three. So so this behavior, let's look at the other behavior I have for this is the behavior for the walking around NPC. He's not an NPC, he's just a guy. So you can see here you have these components. One day, if you guys want to get really into the weeds on this stuff, we can talk about like components and component groups. It gets kind of tricky. I'm not the best at it, but I mean I can usually get through it. But someone had explained it to me pretty good, that when you make a component group and it has a bunch of components in it, so you only like components run it at like runtime when it's created, and component groups can be run through like events. And so events are another thing that you can add in here. I don't have any events, but you could have an event, and there's a ton of events in Minecraft. If you go in here and ever just type event, let's see. Oh, I don't have it tagged. What was that guy exam? This might work. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So here you can see, like, these are all just kind of the normal events, and this is just, this is only A to C. So I mean, there's a ton of events in the game, and you can add new events, right? So you can have an event play, and then what that event does is when that event is triggered, it applies the components in a component group to your thing. So these components are always here, so it's always going to like have gravity and collision. It's going to be pushable or not. It's going to have the movement speed and these are like kind of the basics of it. A random stroll, like how it kind of moves around, stops and stuff. So
Hey, Cole,
and then
I think that as one, I think that we're setting ourselves up for a great follow-up on doing more of like a step-by-step process
totally.
you go through, because wide range of people here, myself included, of taking it all in and wanted to, we'll be able to share the folder and files to be able to then go step by step through the process. I think that'd be awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, we about 15 minutes. So I think this will be great.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of people
cool.
in the chat wanting to see more step by step as we go through it as well.
Okay, cool. Yeah, maybe we could like make one of the things I think that I guess we didn't never make a mob, huh? As far on, because things kind of fell apart a little bit.
There's the Halloween. There's the kind of
exactly
there, but after that point, So I think we can pick back up. I remember Skelly Cat. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think I was gonna say we started that Halloween mobs, and oh man, I had made a really cool mob too. I wonder if I have it. If I have it, I'll show it at the end. I made this really cool the Ring. You know the Ring, the movie. I made a really
Yes.
cool ring girl thing, and I'll see if I can find it. Anyway, the last thing, let's see. Okay, so one of the other things I included was like people want to make blocks, right? Well, you don't have to just retext your blocks anymore. Now we can add our own blocks. So I've added these holographic block. Well, okay, first off, I gave you guys my number blocks, which are work in progress. These are the shape numbers. I know a lot of people have regular like a block with a number printed on it, but one of the things that we want to do is have the shapes of the block so you see the letter and it's 3D and physical. So I made these I think in this version of Minecraft, the version that EDU's on, we can't have these images flipped here. So in our next update, I believe that these will all look correct, but right now they're all back. You have to kind of pick a lane. Do you want them to be facing the right way or not? I can't get it. I spent a long time trying to figure it out. I'd rotate it one way and it would go the way, but right now I do have these set up so that they will place in the orientation that is correct, which I think is more important than the look, although it can create a problem when you are doing this. This will look backward here. See, it's an E instead of a 3, but I've included these because the important thing is that you can see that we can do block shapes, right? We can actually not have to worry about our block being just a block. These are shapes, so it's actually using a model, and the way that works is again like going to be all covered in here. You're going to see here that we have these block shaped JSONs, and yep, this is showing. See, this has the rotation. There's these other things in the rotation here that you can add so that it displays right and other things. But this version, because see how this is like 20, I think it's actually on like 21 or 22 now, and like our EDU doesn't support it yet because we're just like always a couple steps behind Bedrock. So I don't think it actually sets. If I raise this format version, by the way, if you have problems with your stuff in block, if you're making stuff in Blockbench and it doesn't work how you expect in EDU, check your version number because a lot of times that's what it is. Because Blockbench isn't like of course it works because we're Bedrock based, but Blockbench keeps up with Minecraft Bedrock and not us. So you'll have sometimes they'll be a step ahead and it'll create a file and it won't work in EDU for you. So that's another reason why this pack might be good because I've already done those steps and I know these all have all these work. So this is how you can how the model works here. So this is like showing you how you add an actual physical model for your block, a block shape, and the texture tied to it. Then the other blocks I made, they're not shape blocks, but they are new blocks I added in here are these holographic blocks that I was making for something. So I wanted to make these. It's just dirt and stone and a log, but I tried to make them. They look weird put together. Let me just do this here. There we go. And so I don't know if it's updating well on your guys' screen, but they're supposed to be kind of flickery, like ghosted, and they're transparent. They're supposed to look like holograms, right?
It looks really cool.
Yeah, and
You're going to have to show us how to do the transparency.
yeah.
Because I was actually trying to make a block the other day, and I couldn't get the transparency to work on it. I was pulling out what little hair I have left. So,
well, part of it could be the render controller or the material type as well. So
yeah.
these have the examples. The one thing is it's not doing it now, but one of the things I had done here is I had made these blocks holograms. So right now they're creating collision, but I had taken the collision off. Unfortunately, the version that I included in this pack that it's not doing it, but I can show you how to do it because it's actually pretty easy to make the collision go away, and it is right here. So you can just say false. And now if I do that and I save it and I import it and all that fun stuff, then I would be able to walk through these blocks. But what's cool is that they still have self collision, so I could still build with them. So I could still do that, but I'd be able to walk through them. So it's pretty cool. It's it's pretty handy. So yeah, these blocks I included because they also have an animated texture, as you can see. This flickering is actually an animation, and so if you've never done an animation, an animated texture, now you'll have a head start on that as well. And if let me just look here really quickly. Oh wait, was it on this one? I probably already had it open, huh? So where oh no, okay, so sorry, in the old day, so now there's a there's a file now here, sorry about that. There's a file, and I believe that it's in textures. It's called flipbook textures, and this is where you set the frames and the speed, and then your texture itself. If you haven't made a animated texture before, or a flipbook texture, if you've done it, then you know what you're about to see. But if you haven't, the textures are really long. So you can see, I'll open this one because it's the best example, I think, because it has borders. But every one of these is a frame. Think of this as a frame, as a like an animation frame. So you could, if you wanted, you could animate a little guy walking in each frame, and he would be like running on your blocks, right? So what I did here is I've adjusted the opacity in various frames, so it's creating that flicker like that. So it's getting more opaque and less opaque, more opaque, less opaque, and that's how I did it. And so it's like one frame, two frame, and so then it plays, and it's playing one frame per tick, so it's relatively pretty quick animation there, and that's what it looks like.
Well, that's interesting because I've done animation textures before, but it was using a different. I think it was using a few lines in a render controller.
Yes, so it used to be that way, and that's why, like, yeah, you notice I went to look for that way first, and then I'm like, oh wait, yeah, flipbook. So now it's flipbook texture, which is it's way easier now because before it was harder.
Good. It was. Yeah, it took me like I can't remember how many days to find, like, go through YouTube videos to find the one line that I needed in that file.
Yeah,
in the render controller.
Yeah,
so that's good to know.
It's a lot easier now, and so those are included. And then the last thing I think that I included, let me just make sure, is I wanted to give you a hat. So here is a hat for you. This is let's see here. I made skin packs too. I can show you how to do that too. So I added the Cole dev skin. We have under here we have our Cole's Corner skin pack. So I got little me, and then little me dev, which goes back to the, I could have shoved it in this folder next to them, but I just put it in my own little pack. But anyway,
I don't know if you're aware, Cole, the carpet got pulled out on the skins.
What do you mean?
So there was an update, so you can still add skins, but only you'll see them. Nobody else will see them.
Oh, because of that thing over here in the settings, that
yeah, the toggle switch.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, I mean, I guess it's still fun for.
I mean, it's fun that we can still add skins, but it's disappointing when other people want to see them.
Yeah, well, I think we'll probably look back into addressing that at some point, right? Personalization doesn't mean anything really if you're not sharing it, right?
Yeah, and it's a kind of key thing for a lot of the students that we work with, particularly in Canada, because in Indigenous communities, they don't have representation in the skins in the game. So we've actually been doing some outreach to help them do that. And now they can't share that experience with anybody else. So it's a little bit of a kick in the teeth for them. So I'm not terribly happy that was done.
Yeah. Well, I'll mention that I know that people have already talked about.
I mean, I get the reasons for doing things like that, but there are, like, in my opinion, like if people are misusing anything, I mean, people can misuse a pencil and a paper, right? Like, it's classroom management. It's not necessarily up to the application to put locks and holds on things.
Yeah, I've seen John Wick. I know he can do it with a pencil. So,
exactly.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'll mention that, Dan.
Yeah. Thank you.
So yep. so the last thing is I made this hat item, and so it's an actual attachable. So when you equip it, it puts your hat on, and you could put this on. So now you can see how to make an attachable hat. So it doesn't just have to be, you know, an armor hat, and you could do it with an item, but like now you can see how we can apply a model to the character and make an attachable hat. And that also will be in here under, I believe that is it's a combination of things, because I think part of it, oh, no, sorry, there's attachables folder. And I think part of it might be in under the behavior of items. Oh, there goes my alarm.
I find the actual the armor chest thing was actually the most difficult to work with doing the attachables. The hats were really easy, but the chest thing was a little bit weird.
Mm.
Like I found, like if I moved the arm a little bit, like it when I actually translated it into Minecraft, it was like off on the other side of the screen, and I had to manually adjust the numbers to tweak it. It was kind of weird. I don't know if everyone's had that experience, but I had a weird time with it the one time I did it.
Well, when I first used the attachable, it was on the Moonbase map.
Yeah.
And it was it was difficult. So I wanted to make a big puffy spacesuit that went over your suit. And what ended up happening was that we ended up doing it where it was just one piece. So it was the chest piece, but then it was the whole body instead of bringing in the boots and the you know, all the separate
That's
pieces.
cool.
But the one piece we kept the helmet separate because we wanted you to be able to take off your helmet and see, you know, the player wearing a spacesuit, but see their face. And then we had built game mechanics in so that if you took your space helmet off on the moon, you start to suffocate. And so there was like a sense of realism there. Yeah, so I think that's all the stuff that I've added into this pack. I'm just gonna go back and look. Oh, one thing that I added, I'll have to open and close to show you, but let me think where it is. Sorry, guys. Okay, is we added the fogs, and this lets you change like the fog color. You know, like this number. Well, you have to like look up a hex code, or you if you know one. Like I think like FFFFFF or something that's like white. But if you know it, otherwise you can just type in hex code. But you can change these hex codes, and that will change this fogging color in the background. It'll also change your water. So if you look here, and if I look at water, you'll see I've made this water just a little bit like more greenish because I wanted to have like kind of a lagoon look. But so I changed the water for like this biome.
Looks like Gatorade.
Yeah, I like it's very kind of I don't know like it reminded me of like a jungle lagoon kind of texture, but that's what I was going for. But yeah, I was gonna make a little waterfall here. Yeah, it's kind of got that kind of greenish color, but you could do this thing to here too. So if I had so if I go here and I pick something like this red, we could just copy this code and then go into here, and I could paste that into here. Oh, did it work? Is that the new code?
I don't think so. Did it paste?
Oh, no, it is. Yeah, there we go. Hold on. So there we go. And then I'll just save that. And then what we have to do is save and exit. That's another one of the thing. Oh, so here, okay. So I should, yeah, it's loading. Hold on. Sorry. So it's slow. This is the other way to add the add-on is to go. Come on now. Oh my gosh, it's frozen. Okay, is to go here. So like even though this world already exists, right? We could add more. I wanted to see, sorry, real quick. I wondered if I had oh, I don't have dang it. I was hoping I had the ring girl I made. Because you guys remember the chest I made, but the ring one was really good. I don't know. I guess I don't have it. Dang it.
Good one for another time.
Yeah, but I'll show it to you. Yeah, maybe I have to wait till Halloween. But anyway, hopefully not that long. But okay. Oh, and of course it didn't even work. Okay, awesome. Well, that I wonder why that didn't work though. But that oh, I wonder if that wasn't the right file, but or the right code. But that's because anyway, I did it the other day, and when I was put this in, you could play with these things. For sure it works. I had made a magenta sky the other day. Just like when I was playing around with it. This is how I made the moon have the black, like it goes out. Like I didn't want the haze to be. I didn't want it to go into blue. And that's what it was doing. So it looked weird that you were like in space with the black, and then it fell off into blue. It was weird looking. So one of the guys from Pathways showed me how to make these black shadows. So it's pretty cool.